When I was a young warthog. Good morning, everybody. My name's Bear from the internet. You're aware of that, I'm sure. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're new here. In which case, if you're new here, subscribe, ring the little bell icon, etc. Do the YouTube things. If you're not new here and you want to be subscribed, you're not just lurking in the shadows, make sure you are subscribed, because YouTube does this really annoying thing where they unsubscribe what they call unproductive subscribers. They labeled you unproductive, not me. So if you want to be subscribed, make sure that you are. Okay, Bear. You know, that's a hell of an ask before you provided any value. I know, but we've done this 7,000 times before, so I'm assuming you're at least vaguely familiar with content. Okay, Bear. All right, awesome. Coffee time. Let's coffee. That's a hot one right there. Kind of a little bit of all. Good morning, Tato, and everybody else in the chat. D. Gallagher, I was just watching last night's video. I would strongly recommend, if you're in need of a little bit of spiritual encouragement, maybe just a really honest conversation about what relationship between a believer, a son or daughter of the Most High, and the Father himself should look like by the blood of Messiah, I would strongly recommend you watch the Q&A from last night. What's up, Rocklick? Is it raining there in Lawrence, Bear, says Tammy. Oh, you're plugged in, Tam. Hold on, Tam. You're unplugged now, Tam. I don't know. Let's go look. Well, Tam, let's see. You can't see anything because the camera ain't working. What's up, Branches? No, there's some low cloud cover, and I see indications of the sun for the first time in about 72 hours over that way. So, super cool. Why are you in Lawrence, Kansas, Bear? Like, listen, we're supposed to be doing the intel, and you guys got me on my third rabbit hole in the last 2 minutes already. Because MWAP, Midwestern Preparedness Project, I'm speaking this afternoon at 3:15 at Midwestern Preparedness Project, and then there's other people there that are all super cool people. William Bond, the permaculture consultant, is already there, and Patrick and Bobby and Kyle from MWAP, Midwestern Preparedness Project. Todd, the sound guy, spent a lot of time talking with Todd yesterday, comparatively a lot of time, 7 minutes, which, you know, if you're me, that's a lot of time when you're kind of floating through a crowd of people. Joel Salatin is going to be there, blah, 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 blah. Lots of awesome people. These people, they're the best people. If you're Midwestern and preparing, then I would strongly recommend that you go to Bloomington West Campground, Lawrence, Kansas. It's free, $0, paid for it with tariffs. Very good. Huge deal. Speaking of huge deal, there's Trump's been basically trolling the entire world over the last century, but certainly last week, talking about something very big is coming, something wicked. This way is coming, folks. It's going to be huge. And nobody really knows what he's talking about, but there's some little leaks happening on the periphery. There's a bunch of people who are not speaking on behalf of the administration, but whispering quietly, laterally from the administration to reporter type people. And so there's some what would you call it here? Some opinions, some conjecture on what could be happening. One is, and I just want to get this out there right now. Full stop. Don't support. Don't like it. Very bad. Not a fan. Potentially. See, Trump's going to Saudi Arabia. You might have heard of them from their greatest hits, such as 9/11 hijackers. It was Project Bluebeam, probably, but whatever. The Saudis. We don't talk about the Saudi involvement with September 11th, that's just not allowable. But anyway, Trump's going over there to talk to the Saudis to probably probably the Saudis are going to recognize, and here's the big deal, recognize the nation state of Israel and their legitimacy. Which is, because the Saudis they're Arabs, right? Okay, cool. Well, and generally speaking, the Arabs and definitely the Persians don't like the Jews, the Yehudim, in the nation state of Israel. So it'd be freaking huge from a geopolitical standpoint if the Saudis were to say Israel has a right to exist, essentially, the nation state of Israel, without even trying to properly begin to properly divide the word Israel. But I digress. Digression on my digression. So Trump is going over there to the sandbox to go talk to the Saudis and potentially get them to recognize the legitimacy of the nation state of Israel. Why is that a big deal? Well, it's a big deal certainly for the nation state of Israel. But why it could be a big deal for us is very quietly, and I think they're kind of trying to read the tea leaves here for folks like you and I to see if there's enough domestic support for this idea, which again, for me, what's the idea, Barry? We're getting there. For me, this is not a no, this is a hell no. I'm not interested. The United States may provide technical expertise, leadership, and funding for the governance of Gaza, as well as offer to Palestinians a refuge, if you will. Quantity one, get out of jail free card. Where do you want to go in the world other than Gaza? Because clearly being in Gaza is not working for you. Here's the thing. I didn't elect anyone to govern Gaza. Martin says, sounds like nation building to me. Yeah, I know, me too, right? It also sounds vaguely like some kind of Middle Eastern peace deal I don't know. Have you read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 lately? The man of lawlessness, the working of lawlessness is the working of Satan and the Antichrist. And yeah, it's rough, man. I'm always a little leery, a little wary of peace in the Middle East because something funky this way comes. Exactly, lamppost. I didn't elect anybody or designate any of my extorted taxpayer dollars towards the governance and leadership of Gaza. Not cool with that. Like, we're not governing and leading here. One of the biggest issues that me and many people like me have with the Trump administration is that they're not moving fast enough with what they were elected, the mandate that they were given by the American people. They're not moving fast enough. And I know lots of people say, give it time, trust the plan. Things didn't go sideways overnight. They're not going to get fixed overnight. What about the 113th Pope prophecy? Yeah, listen, to all my Catholic brethren out there, you do you, boo. Me, not so much. I do not, let's just say the quiet part out loud. I do not recognize the legitimacy of the papacy, because from the mouth of Messiah, call no man father but your Father in heaven. Okay, yeah, exactly, AJ Harrison. And now it's make Gaza great again. Yeah, not good. So the 113th Pope prophecy. Look, guys, this is the fourth rabbit hole in 9 minutes. More coffee's indicated. Back to Gaza. There's a chance that Trump could designate a delegation for the leadership of Gaza. I don't love that. Now, there's another thought here. Have you ever heard, keep your friends close and your enemies closer? Have you ever heard that? Now, define enemy, right? At what level? Well, Middle Eastern New Jersey the nation state of Middle Eastern New Jersey and their leadership has not necessarily been friendly and good for the nation state of the United States of America and her constituents. I'm not talking about necessarily the people there, just so we're on the same page, right? Like, we just got out of the Biden-Harris regime, just got out. And so Biden and Harris never represented me. They represented the United States of America, but they never represented me. So we got to rightly divide between the air quote leadership of a nation and the constituents inside of that nation. And he who causes strife amongst brothers, it is an abomination to Yahweh, right? And elder brother Judah is in the family. I got some bones to pick with elder brother Judah for sure, but they are our brother. They are in the kingdom of Elohim, as am I. But the nation state and the leadership of, it just makes me say, meh. So it's possible here. Why has everything seemed so cozy with the nation state of Israel, Middle Eastern New Jersey over there, since the Trump administration has gotten into office? Well, think about this. Okay, let's just put our thinking caps on. We have now an executive order that violates the First Amendment, that anything that is considered to be anti-Semitic, which is, we're all Semites. Father Abraham has many sons. His daddy was Terach. Terach was descended from Shem, one of Noah's 3 sons. Shem is where we get Semite from. And so you're not Japheth, you might be Ham, one of Noah's sons. But if you believe in Messiah, you're Romans 11 grafted into the family anyway. Father Abraham has many sons. So we're all Semites. So I'm pro-Semite, okay? It's a ridiculous phrase because I'm pro-me and I'm pro-you. Nice lamp. Is that the lady's skin? It puts the lotion on the skin. Listen, it puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again, okay? What I do in my spare time, MC Uper, is none of your business. I'm into arts and crafts, okay? So we now have an executive order that violates the First Amendment, that if you are found to be conducting yourself as an anti-Semite, fines, deportation, etc., etc. Okay, but that then becomes the lever that can be used for the removal of certain other bad actors here domestically. Okay, cool. So what would be the benefit of the United States having operational control of Gaza? Well, it puts us right on the doorstep of our greatest ally, right there, doesn't it? That's interesting to me. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So maybe this is 4-dimensional chess. I don't like it. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't vote for this. This is not. Am I tired of winning yet? No, because I don't think we've been winning. I don't think we've been moving fast enough. And so we'll keep eyes on this, but it's possible that this is the huge thing that Trump is talking about, is that the United States could be governing Gaza. No, I'm not really interested in that. That's not, listen, when every single homeless veteran has a house, a place to live, when every single person that is being treated by the VA has been fully treated, like resolved, not ongoing, kicking the can down the road, resolved. When every single taxpayer has gotten their money back after being defrauded their entire lifetime, when every single corrupt politician is swinging from a rope where their head is on a pike, when every single human trafficker has been rounded up, when every single page of the Epstein files has been released, and the Diddy files, and the Harvey Weinstein files, and all the other files, when we have a full audit of the Federal Reserve, when we've handled all of our domestic problems, all of them, then we can have a conversation about whether or not we should be taking over the Gaza Strip. Okay? That's my 2 cents. That's what I think. As of right now, honey, you don't have the horsepower. I've seen the balance sheet. We're $36 trillion in debt. We got a $2 trillion deficit. The money is useless. No. Yeah, exactly, Campfire Chef. Unredacted. We still don't have the Epstein files. Who's still mad at me 6 weeks, 8 weeks later for me saying Pam Bondi sucks and she should resign on what, her second day in office? Yeah, Barry, you suck. You got to give it time. How much time do you need? She said they're sitting on her desk. What about Kash Patel? On day one, FBI headquarters will be a museum. They got you, Kash. They got you. You've been co-opted. Good job. So, physician, heal thyself. All right? And we have a lot of healing to do, I think, before we outsource any of the healing that we need to do over to the Middle East or anywhere else, essentially. So, keep eyes on that. Let's see. I already told you to check out the Q&A from last night. That was a phenomenal. My wife has texted me. Her new desk sign. You guys want to see a cool pic? My wife is at the refuge office this morning. So, oh my gosh, the white balance on this phone is terrible. What if we point it this way, away from the window? There we go. And what does that say? What does that say? It says, the Lord Yahweh is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. My God is my rock in whom I take refuge. Psalm 18. Yup. Why is refuge called refuge? Yahweh, the Lord, is my refuge and my strength. That's why. It's not an accident. Let's see. Shifting gears. Another potential huge thing that Trump could be working on, and this reporting comes from Brian Dean Wright or at least I heard it from Brian Dean Wright at The Wright Report, former CIA guy. There's a possibility that Trump could be forcing pharmaceutical companies to lower their prices. That in the United States, we pay on average 3 to 5 times as much for the same pharmaceuticals here that other developed nations pay. Okay. Now, on the one hand, don't get it twisted. I'm no fan of big pharma. Like, get sunshine, eat real food, drink water, move your body. That fixes 95% of what's wrong with people, including inside the old brain box. So, on the other hand, I'm also not a fan of anybody being able to tell companies what they can and can't do. So I think the appropriate way to solve this problem is just for on the consumer side to just say, nah, I'm not. Number one, I don't want that prescription. Number two, I'm not paying you $500 for that prescription. I would consider paying you $50. How's that? Oh, well, no, that's our rates. That's not our rates. Okay, well, then I'm not paying you. Have a nice life. But, sir, you will die without this life-saving medication. Oh, but, madam, I will die anyway. Preordained. This flesh will die. Okay, so, thanks. I don't really want your pharmacology. And there's an interesting word. It's called pharmakia. It's in the Bible, and it's tied to sorcery, drug sorcery. pharmakia. And in fact, during the age of COVID, I don't know how many hundreds of religious exemptions we provided to y'all on my letterhead to you, saying that I have a biblical worldview that prevents me from participating in pharmakia. Now, here's the verses that tie into pharmakia. I'm not doing this thing and these two other things. And if you remove me, and I mean, we did this for industry, for law enforcement, emergency services, for the military. A bunch of you service members out there reached out and they're like, hey, Pastor Bear. I wasn't even Pastor Bear at that time. I mean, maybe I was doing pastorish type things, but I hadn't been ordained as a pastor yet. You guys are like, hey, Brother Bear, any chance you could hook me up with one of them good exemptions? I'm like, yeah, let's have a conversation. Let's examine your faith. But pharmakia, drug sorcery, and we pay for it. I'm gonna die anyway, okay? And, oh no, your body's gonna fail. Cool. What if I talk to the great physician? What if I talk to he that made my body and then just do the things that he told me to do, like drink water, go outside, eat real food, move your body, pray. Really interesting thing, rabbit hole in the rabbit hole. So I am a proponent of EMDR, which is a method that Dr. Trevor Wilkins and others use as part of trauma therapy. Eye movement, deep desensitization, reprocessing. And basically, it activates both sides of your brain at the same time. Explain Like I'm 5 version. And it allows you to move memories, traumatic memories, from the short-term file to the long-term file in your brain, so that they no longer trigger you. You're not having physiological fight or flight amygdala responses to these stimuli that echo what has happened to you in the past. Okay, so you move it out of the short-term folder into the long-term folder in your brain, so you don't get re-triggered and then start spiraling. Well, when you do that, both sides of your brain light up. And my doc that I was working with, I asked him, I said, hey, is there anything else that we know that does this other than EMDR? And he said, there's some studies that have shown that meditation can do this as well. I said, interesting. And I said, I'm a drummer. And so if your left side of your brain operates your right side and your right side of your brain operates your left side, when I'm playing drums, you know, double bass and both hands, I'm using my entire brain and my entire body, okay? So that's lighting up both sides of my brain. Is that why drumming is so therapeutic for me? And he's like, yeah, maybe. And I said, what about prayer? And Dr. Edwin Woolley was my doc before he retired. Really phenomenal guy. And he had his glasses on, and he takes his glasses off, and he sets them a little on the table right there, and he leans forward, strong believer too. And he goes, well, there's no literature that I'm aware of that directly supports the idea that prayer is a therapeutic. He goes, but I can tell you, knowing how prayer works and looking at the literature, that it absolutely lights up both sides of your brain, because it's like meditation, but you're connected to the creator of the universe when you're doing it. It's like, imagine that. I love it when science supports biblical truth, because all the truth belongs to the Father anyway. We are just rediscovering little bits and pieces of it. So prayer, it's a big deal. Somehow we ended up into the rabbit hole talking about brain science. Back to Trump. Pharmacology, pharmakia. So he might be talking about requiring pharma companies to drastically reduce the prices that they charge to us. Swivelhead, I was recently diagnosed with cancer, taking God's natural healing approach. All prayers appreciated. Father Yahweh, be it your will, heal our brother Swivelhead. In Yeshua's name, amen. Hey, it's gonna be okay. I survived cancer at 26 years old. It's doable. It's possible. I'm still here. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. I told my mom got a diagnosis 22 years ago. The doctor told her she had a year to live, and of course she was distraught. I said, Ma, if you think you have a year to live, you do. If you think you have longer than a year to live, you do. It's up to you to choose how you're going to deal with this. And so we fixed her mindset, and then we kept going to doctors until we found a doctor that believed as much or more that we did that my mom had more than a year to live. And that was 22 years ago, and she's still here. Mike Gunner, Bear, tinfoil hat question. What if those Epstein files have a Trump on them? Hey, Mike Gunner, I think they do, which is why we haven't seen them yet, which is why we may never see them. And if we do, think about how much time they've had to doctor these files. It's not just been since Pam Bondi's been Attorney General. I mean, these files go back a long, long time. So when we see the files, are they the files? No, they're a recreation of the files. From RT today, Ukrainian cross-border incursions thwarted during Victory Day truce in Russia. Kiev's forces have not stopped their attacks despite a 72-hour ceasefire announced by Moscow, the defense ministry has said. So right now it's like big hullabaloo in Russia right now. Their equivalent of the 4th of July. Xi Jinping, the leader of China, is in Russia visiting right now. They're coordinating on evil genius stuff. Xi and Putin are, they're BFFs. They want to take over the world. Super bad guys. Or, excuse me, or are they? Probably not. Probably not. Are they great guys? No. Are our guys great guys? No, not really. Don't matter. So it's like a big deal in Russia right now. And Kiev, Ukraine, has sent drone swarms. Russia closed their national airspace due to drone swarms. I think it was 572 drones involved in this drone attack. That's a big deal. And so there's some attempt at escalation, definitely harassing fire, just kind of trying to throw a wrench in the works of what Russia has going on right now. There's also, interestingly, they have a lot of parades going on, military hardware and all of that. Well, if you know where the military hardware is going to be, should you hit it? Well, now we come back to morals and ethics. If the military hardware is surrounded by civilians at a parade, don't really love that. Could we hit it in the staging area before the parade starts? That's my thought. But I'm not a Ukrainian or a Russian. So, huge drone attack from Ukraine into Russia. Kind of a big deal. Let's see. Since the start of the declared truce period, Kiev's forces have attacked a total of 488 times, including 173 artillery, tank, and mortar attacks, 4 uses of MIRVs, multiple rocket launchers, and some 300 strikes by FPV drones. The deliberate destructive actions of the Ukrainian side against Russia confirm the desire of the Kyiv regime to prevent a peaceful settlement of the Ukraine conflict. I think at this point, just general opinion, I don't love the fact that we've spent a couple $100 billion over there. I don't love the fact that we've depleted our own stockpiles of munitions. Yeah, older generation stuff, but we got to pay to replace it. I don't love that, but it just feels like people are a little over this whole Russia-Ukraine thing, and the Ukrainian leadership is also hot garbage, and it was installed by the American leadership, which is hot garbage, in 2014. And I don't blame Putin for not wanting NATO on his doorstep. Now, however, if they take Ukraine, NATO will be on his doorstep. Northwest of Ukraine is a little place called Poland. You might have heard of that. And the Poles are just like, hell yeah. If I don't get some blood on my AK soon, I'm going to die, bro. Let's go. let's go to war. If a Russian songbird flies into Polish airspace, they're launching missiles at it. Okay, so I find that interesting because the impetus for the Ukraine special military operation doesn't hold up if Russia takes control of Ukraine and uses it for standoff. However, I also am not buying and have not been buying this whole idea that if we don't stop Vladimir Putin in Ukraine, we're going to have global geothermal nuclear warfare or whatever. Because Putin's had multiple opportunities to just turn the planet into glass, and he hasn't done it yet. Well, that doesn't mean that he's not gonna, Bear. Now, I agree. It doesn't mean that he's not going to, but I just think the probability versus possibility ratio here is pretty low. Being perfectly frank, I'm more concerned about the domestic economy than I am about the Ukraine war. Being perfectly honest, and I think most people are that way too. So work out a peace deal. Russia gets Ukraine back. Okay, cool. Used to be theirs anyway. But what about the Belarusians and Lukashenko? Who cares? I don't care. But then the Europeans are going to have Vladimir Putin on their doorstep. Cool. I'm not a European. Does that suck for them? Yeah. Is it my job to pay for their defense? To send my sons and daughters over there to go die for their defense? How many times do Americans have to show up on European soil to fix their problems? And then they still think we're the a-holes. They're all a bunch of socialists over there anyway. Like, they still think we're the jerks when you'd all be speaking German if it wasn't for the doughboys, right? And then the greatest generation. So I'm a little over it. Like, the whole impetus for we've got to stop Vladimir Putin. I don't love Putin doing what he's doing in Ukraine. I don't love the idea that Russia is going to potentially be a threat to Europe. It's also not my problem, but it could become your problem. If we don't stop them in Ukraine, nah, man, what? They're going to roll Russian tanks into Germany? I don't think so. Because you know what else is in Germany? American tanks. You know, it's in Poland, a whole bunch of American hardware. And then you've got the Sweden and Norway. They're like, let's kill us some Russians. Sounds good. So Finland, dude, the Finns and the Russians, they don't get along. The continuation war, it's yeah. So I just don't see that Russian expansion into Europe as being a real threat. I think it looks great on paper. It sounds great as news bites in the media to get us to continue to send money over there. Most of that money never made it to Ukraine. It was laundered back to the Democratic Party in part through Act Blue, right? And so I'm just over it. We don't have the money. We're $36 trillion in debt. We got a $2 trillion per year deficit. The money is worthless. Now we're going to go take over Gaza and run Gaza too. Could we maybe just run this country? You know what I mean? I was just watching last night live. Is that whiskey spelled Shibu? No, it's Maker's Mark. Travis, it's just Maker's Mark. It was Maker's Mark last night. Just one of. So anyway, Ukraine attacked Russia. Russia's pissed about it. What else is new? They're going to keep doing this until they don't. Speaking of Europe, from Axios, U.S. and Britain strike first major trade deal of the Trump tariff era. Keir Starmer. He looks like a gay reptilian. Have you seen a picture of this guy? He looks like a gay reptilian. Here's this dude. You know what I mean? Look at this guy. I think that dude blinks sideways. I think his tongue is forked. I think he's got a little tail in his pants. Yeah. And he just loves to love other reptilian dudes. Like, he's just into that. Like, he's the reason that P. Diddy had 1,000 bottles of baby oil at his house. You know what I mean? There's just something about this. Who votes for this guy and looks at this guy and goes, that's the bloke I want leading my country? What? Look at him. What a loser. I don't know. It's just, there's something I don't think, man, I could be wrong. I'm human. I make mistakes too. It's wrong to judge a book by its cover. Yeah, is it though? Like, oh look, here's a book. Look at its cover. What does it say? The scriptures? It's probably pretty trustworthy based upon what the cover says. I like that cover. I think I'm gonna open it up and investigate it some more. Oh, look at that, the Word of God. That's amazing. Don't judge a book by its cover. Okay, maybe. Or maybe sometimes the cover of the book says exactly what's inside of the book, right? Oh, you said your dad mixed some of it with Chivas. Oh, Travis, that's right. Drambuie. 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 Anyway, you heard it here first, folks. Keir Starmer is a gay reptilian overlord. That guy. There's no way this dude hasn't been to at least 100 parties. I don't think there's a man anywhere, like a man anywhere that looked at that dude and said, I want that guy to lead me. That's it. That's the guy. Okay. So, anyway, the gay reptilian overlord dude and then Orange Man have apparently struck a major trade deal coming from Axios, set to be announced at the White House Thursday morning. This should be a very big and exciting day for the United States of America and the United Kingdom, Trump posted on Truth Social earlier Thursday morning. He added another post, many other deals which are in serious stages of negotiation are to follow, folks. The full contours of the deal were not immediately clear, though Bloomberg said talks had focused on reducing tariffs for cars and steel. As long as our cars and our steel are going there, sure. I need no British cars. And if it's British steel that we're concerned with, are we now talking about Judas Priest? Is that what we're doing? If we're bringing Judas Priest back, maybe. How could you say that? You're a pastor and you love God. And Judas Iscariot. I know, bro. I know. People are, one-dimensional people are so boring. You know that? You ever meet a one-dimensional person? It's like they're just like a blank sheet of loose leaf. There's just nothing there. It's like you have no nuance. You have no intricacies. Where are your quirks? You're neurotypical? I'm already out, man. Bless you, but have a wonderful day over there. The normal people are so exhausting. And I'm a people too. I have some intricacies. I have some nuance. I was a person who had life experiences before this camera ever got pointed at my face. Okay? So, yeah. Yes. Because am I approving of what Judas Iscariot did to Messiah? No, insider threats, snitches, not cool. Not cool at all. Was Judas playing the role that was appointed to him for the atonement of the entire world? Yeah, 100%. So, God can use scumbags for the good, okay? And listen, without Judas Priest, we wouldn't have this. Are you watching? Right? We wouldn't have Painkiller? Painkiller? Bro, potentially top 10 metal song of all time? Come on. Faster than a bullet, terrifying speed, half man and half machine? Come on. So, breathing smoke and fire? He is the painkiller. Anyway, we now have a trade deal. We don't know what the trade deal is, but we have a trade deal between the Cheeto Man and the leader of the gay reptilian overlord sect. This guy. There's no way this guy is just a typical heterosexual. There's no way. There is no way. Yeah. So anyway, that's Axios reporting with a lot of commentary from me, if we're being perfectly honest. And then here's maybe my favorite news article of the day from the New Republic. Tulsi Gabbard freaks over damning report U.S. is spying on Greenland. Oh, hold on. The cough is hitting. I must pee. Here, look at this that was in my day pack while I go to urinate. Okay, bear. I'll be right back. And now for your commercial break. There we go. What is that? That's a bare minimum. Where can I get it? Right there. It says right there. refugemedical.com. All right, be right back. Oh, hold on.